The darkness is dense, but it is not silence. There is a murmur at the edge of infinity, as if the universe itself were breathing inside a luminous cave. Before the first cry, before the first touch of skin against skin, something greater had already spoken. They were not words, they were vibrations, like lines of light being woven into an invisible fabric. Imagine a night lake, so still that every star seems to rest on its surface. It is in this cosmic mirror that the soul, about to be born, leans forward to observe the reflections of those who will welcome it into the physical world. It is not chance. It never was. It is sacred choice. And what if the family you know, with its imperfections, its repeated stories, its wounds and its embraces, were not an accident of biology, but a spiritual signature, an invisible contract, designed in the chambers beyond, where each soul negotiates roles, lessons, and inevitable encounters. Some call it destiny, others call it luck or misfortune. But deep down, the soul whispers, not random, never random. Think of that sensation of déjà vu when you look at someone in your family and feel a recognition too deep for words. The sparkle in the eyes of a grandfather you barely knew, but who seems to carry a fragment of you. The tightness in your chest when you find, in your mother's gaze, a pain that is also yours, even if it was never spoken. These moments do not appear by chance. They are traces of something that came before birth. There are documented stories of children who, even before learning to speak, look at their parents as if they had known them from other places. The silence between mother and child, father and daughter, is sometimes so profound it needs no explanation. It is as if time did not begin there, but simply continued. The mystery is this: if sleep is meant to renew, and life is meant to begin blank, why do some connections feel ancient, heavy, inevitable? Because there is a hidden theater, a script before incarnation, an invisible signature. The first cry does not begin anything. It only confirms. It seals what had already been promised long before. Next time you feel that strange déjà vu with someone in your family, do not try to explain it with logic. Close your eyes for a few seconds and ask yourself, where have I met this soul before? That simple question opens a crack in the veil. But how can something so invisible, so immaterial, leave such concrete traces in the physical world? Before any word is spoken, before the heart even begins to beat, there is a silent theater where the soul sits before the veil. It is as if a great cosmic curtain opened, revealing not just one stage, but hundreds of possible stages, each with its own story, with actors waiting to step into the scene. At the center of this invisible stage, the soul contemplates, what will the script be this time? Which mask will I wear? Which role will I take on? And the other souls, those we would soon call mother, father, brother, daughter, are there as well, waiting, negotiating, weaving threads. There are no spoken promises, no contracts on paper, but there are vibrations. And vibrations are more solid than words. It is like hearing a distant melody that only becomes real when several instruments decide to play together. This is the soul contract, the invisible pact. The metaphor of the theater is inevitable. Every family is a stage set, and every soul that descends already has a role to perform. Sometimes roles of love and care, other times of conflict and pain. And as hard as it is to admit, even the antagonist in your life may have been chosen in advance, not as punishment, but as an opportunity for learning. Imagine a film without conflict. It would be tedious, empty, without transformation. In the same way, A life without the frictions of family might not offer the soul what it truly came to seek: expansion. How many times have you felt that someone appeared in your life at the exact moment, as if an actor had entered the scene at the perfect second? A distant relative who suddenly shows up and changes your story. A sibling who always seems to provoke the lesson you resisted most to learn. This is the sign that there is a hidden script. Think of the feeling of watching a play and suddenly noticing that the actors are looking at you as if they knew you had been there all along. This breaking of the fourth wall is what happens when someone in the family activates your soul contract. It is not chance. It is script. It is the call for you to step into the scene of your own life with greater awareness. The invisible pact does not imprison, but directs. It does not force, but invites. It is like a map given before the journey. You can choose shortcuts, you can delay the path, but the main landscape has already been traced. Here the mystery deepens. For if the soul signs these agreements before birth, what clues are left for us, once incarnated, to recognize that choice? Next time you feel a family relationship is too heavy, ask, if this person were an actor in a cosmic script, what role would they be playing to teach me something right now? This simple exercise lifts the personal weight and opens space to see the greater plot. And what if there were already concrete clues, coincidences, repeated signs, inherited memories, showing how that choice reveals itself in the physical world? The clock of biology marks dates. DNA records combinations. But there is something that runs through generations and cannot be explained only by the science of the body. Invisible inheritances, emotional and spiritual patterns that echo within the same family. Imagine an ancient tree, with roots sunk so deep they reach memories buried in the silence of time. Every branch that grows carries, without knowing, the same sap that once flowed through its ancestors. So it is with the soul. When it chooses a family, it enters not only a body, but a field of stories. How many times have you noticed strange coincidences? A child born on the same day the grandfather departed. Names repeating as if life itself were rewriting them. Professions appearing in sequence as if a calling had been inherited. These are not mere statistical repetitions. They are traces of the soul contract, signs that certain lessons and talents are being revisited so they can finally be understood. There are families where music runs through generations. The grandfather a violinist, the father a conductor, the grandson a composer. And there are families where silence also repeats itself, violence never spoken, abandonment never healed, absence carried like a shadow. All of this reveals the first key: echoes of ancestry. It is as if the soul said, I must return where the story was left unfinished. I must wear the skin of this lineage to continue what was once interrupted. Observe your own family. How many coincidences of dates, names, or even professional paths have you noticed? Search through birthdays, old records, memories stored in photographs. You will discover that soul contracts leave concrete traces. Perhaps destiny lies not only in the stars, but in family albums. This repetition is not punishment. It is invitation. It invites the soul to recognize the patterns and then transform them. Some choose to repeat the gift, others to repeat the pain until someone, a cycle breaker, decides to turn inheritance into liberation. And here arises the inevitable question. If we inherit more than genes, who chooses what is repeated? Next time you find a repeating pattern in your family, an illness, a profession, an emotional wound, ask yourself, what did my soul want to continue here? What did it want to finally resolve? That simple reflection can turn coincidences into keys of awakening. But what if it were not only inheritance? What if the soul chose not just to repeat, but to heal what had never been resolved? There are bonds we can see, the same skin tone, the same shape of a smile, the same genetic heritage uniting members of a family. But there are also invisible strings, subtle threads that extend beyond the body and vibrate in regions science has not yet named. They are memories, secrets, pains, and silences that echo within the lineage and shape the incarnation of every new being. Imagine an old violin. Even dusty, even forgotten in a corner, its strings still vibrate when a note is played nearby. So it is with the bloodline. Every hidden secret, every silenced trauma, every unlived love continues to vibrate, and that silent music reaches the soul that chooses to be born into that family. There are families where sadness is passed on as inheritance. Others carry hidden angers, pacts of silence, guilts never confessed. Those born there often feel, without knowing why, that they are carrying something greater than themselves. The soul, when choosing that family, does not only accept the body it will inhabit, it also steps into that ancestral vibrational field. And it is within this field that the invisible strings become perceptible. The inexplicable fear you feel may not be only yours, but of a grandmother who suffered in silence. The guilt that haunts you may have roots in the story of a great-grandfather who never asked forgiveness. Even the dreams that seem strange may be fragments of lives not exactly yours, but that traveled through the blood now running in your veins. Next time you feel an emotion with no clear origin, ask, is this pain really mine, or could it be the voice of someone before me? This question opens space to perceive the invisible strings that vibrate through the lineage. These secrets, often guarded under lock and key, are like knots in a string. They tighten the thread, preventing the melody of life from sounding freely. The soul, when choosing to incarnate in that family, knows this. And in silence, it accepts the challenge not only to live, but to heal what was once interrupted. Here a new understanding is born. We are not only heirs of the past. We are also the musicians tuning the invisible strings so that the music of the lineage can once again play in harmony. But a deeper question arises. What if it were not only about inheriting, but about healing what had never been resolved? Try a simple exercise. Write on a piece of paper the phrase, "I release what does not belong to me," and burn it over a candle. The symbolic act of letting go is like cutting one of those invisible strings, allowing the soul to breathe with more lightness. But if family carries so much weight, so much shadow, so many mirrors, why would the soul consciously choose to walk through it? The mirror is cold but faithful. It does not invent. It only returns what stands before it. So it is with family, the most intimate, most uncomfortable, most inevitable reflection of what the soul must see. Imagine a hallway lined with old mirrors. Each one distorts slightly, each one returns a different image, yet all point back to you. That is exactly the feeling when we live with family. Every gesture, every absence, every cutting word or unexpected embrace is a reflection of what already existed within the soul. This is the second verifiable pattern of soul contracts, family as karmic mirror. Encounters are not random. Conflicts are not mere coincidence. They are invitations, sometimes painful, for the soul to see itself. Distant parents reveal the wound of rejection. Siblings in conflict show the competition left unresolved. Rebellious children expose the rigidity or hidden fear of the parents. Karma is not punishment. It is lesson. And family is the teacher in disguise. Close your eyes for a moment and remember a repetitive situation within your family. Something that seems to return like a cycle: arguments, distances, resentments. Now ask yourself, what does this pain want to teach me? Which part of me does it reflect? That small ritual already begins to break the veil of suffering, turning the mirror into a portal of awareness. The soul knows that in choosing a family, it will find not only love and comfort, but also friction and resistance. For it is in friction that fire is lit. It is in discomfort that expansion is born. There are no accidental lessons. Every tear before a relative, every unhealed hurt, every silence that cuts deeper than a scream are pieces of a greater puzzle, the karmic reflection the soul must face in order to evolve. And even if it is hard, even if it hurts deeply, there is something liberating in realizing they are not my enemies. They are my mirrors. But here a more powerful revelation arises. If suffering is a mirror, there may also be another side. The side of healing. Next time you feel anger or pain in front of a family member, try saying silently, "You are my mirror, and through you I learn about myself." That simple phrase has the power to dissolve resentments and open space for healing. But if pain reveals the reflection, how can the mirror be turned into a key of liberation? There are missions announced out loud, with applause and recognition. But there are also those fulfilled in silence, without witnesses, within the walls of one's own home. This is the hidden task of the soul, to enter a family not only to live its life, but to heal the invisible knots that echo through generations. Imagine a torch being passed from hand to hand across centuries. Each generation carries the flame for a time, but also bears the weight of the darkness surrounding it. And sometimes a soul arrives for something different, not only to keep the flame, but to purify the darkness that clings to it. That is why so many people feel from an early age that they don't quite belong to their family. They are the ones who question, who feel out of place, who seem like strangers in the nest. They are not there by accident. They were chosen, and they accepted, to be the cycle breakers. Think of those families where violence has always been passed down. The father who hits because he too was beaten by the grandfather. Until one day, a child is born who decides, consciously or unconsciously, "It ends with me. I will not repeat this." That invisible decision is the rupture of an old contract, and also the signing of a new one. At that moment, the soul not only learns, but teaches, not only suffers but transforms. And this transformation echoes not only forward, into future generations, but also backward. Some say that when a descendant heals a wound, even the ancestors who are gone feel relief in the spiritual plane. That is why certain family members seem to carry more weight than others. It is not destiny's favoritism. It is the soul's mission. It is the secret pact. I will go where the pain still beats, so that the sound of love can finally pass through. But this mission is not easy. Often it demands solitude, demands confrontation, demands the courage to go against the current. To be the cycle breaker is to endure the pain of breaking with traditions, to challenge silences, and above all, to bear the weight of being misunderstood. And yet, this hidden task is also the greatest gift the soul can offer its lineage. If you feel you have always been different in your family, ask yourself, what if that difference is exactly the reason I am here? That simple shift of perspective can turn pain into mission. The torch does not need to be carried forever. Someone must interrupt the automatic march of repetition. And perhaps, just perhaps, that person is you. Repeat silently the phrase, "I honor those who came before me," but I choose to open a new path. This simple affirmation has the power to seal the decision to break old cycles without rejecting your ancestry. But how can you know for sure if you are the chosen one, the silent guardian who came to break the chain? Before being born, the soul does not choose only a body, but a frequency. It is like tuning into a cosmic radio station. There are thousands of channels available, but only one vibrates in exact harmony with what the soul needs to live. And it is this vibration that pulls it, like a silent magnet, toward the family that will receive it. Imagine that each family is like an invisible sound field, a unique melody resonating through its stories, emotions, and beliefs. Some melodies are soft, filled with comfort. Others are dissonant, full of broken notes. But in both cases, there is coherence. Each sound attracts the soul that needs that experience. This is the third verifiable pattern of soul contracts: attraction by vibrational frequency. Ancient traditions confirm this. The Vedas, for example, speak of Nada Brahma, sound is God. Creation, according to this vision, began with a primordial vibration. If everything is born of sound, then human birth also follows this logic. Each soul descends attracted by the right sound, the exact vibration that echoes in its mission. The mantra Om is considered the vibration that contains all others. It is as if each family were a unique variation of that sound, and as the soul approaches, it recognizes its own note within the melody. Have you noticed how a mother's voice calms the baby even before birth? How the heartbeat of the pregnant mother cradles the fetus with an invisible rhythm? It is not just biology. It is a vibrational password. The soul already knows, even before the body is formed, this is the right sound. This is the place where my lesson resonates. That is why many describe feeling an unmistakable sensation when hearing a family member's voice for the first time, as if that voice were a key opening a hidden door in memory. And here lies the beauty. It is not only pain that attracts, but also mission. Family is not only a setting for healing, but also for alignment. A soul that needs to learn compassion may be born into a home of harshness. A soul that came to teach joy may be drawn to a dark household, precisely to bring light where it was extinguished. In the end, it is all about frequency, like two guitar strings that, when plucked, vibrate in resonance. So too do souls vibrate when they meet their family. If you want to feel the frequency of your family, try this exercise. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, and imagine all your family members gathered in the same space. Ask inwardly, what sound would this family make if it were a song? The answer will come as a sensation, an image, or even an inner rhythm. That perception reveals the vibration that drew you to them. But what if even your mother's voice were, in truth, a vibrational password confirming your choice before you were ever born? There are secrets that need not be spoken. There are codes not written on paper, but engraved in the body, in the skin, in the heart. They are recognition passwords, subtle signs the soul leaves for itself to confirm, once in the physical world, that it chose the right place to be born. Imagine an old safe. On the outside, it looks cold and impenetrable. But when the right combination is turned, it opens smoothly, revealing treasures kept for centuries. The soul works the same way. It arrives in the body carrying secret combinations, and the voices, the gestures, even the sense of the family are the keys that turn the lock. Scientists have confirmed that babies recognize their mother's voice while still in the womb. They respond to the rhythm of her speech, the beat of her heart, the warmth of her breath. For the soul, this is not just a biological response. It is a vibrational password, a reminder that it is not lost, not alone, that it has arrived exactly where it was meant to arrive. And it is not only with the mother. There are accounts of children who, at a very young age, seem to recognize relatives they had never seen before, as if they had known them from somewhere else. An immediate affinity, a look that needs no explanation, an embrace far too ancient to be the first. These experiences are recognition codes, clues that soul contracts left perceptible marks in the body and in cellular memory. Perhaps you have felt it too, a familiar perfume or a laugh that instantly brought a strange sense of belonging, as if something deep within had been unlocked. These small moments are the passwords confirming, "Yes, I recognize you. We already had an agreement." Modern science has begun to explore what is called cellular memory, the idea that emotions and experiences can be recorded not only in the mind, but in the body itself. Spirituality goes further. It affirms that these memories do not belong only to you, but also to the entire lineage of which you are a part. This explains why certain family encounters awaken unexplainable emotions, intense love, fear, anger, or longing without apparent reason. They are not responses of the present. They are passwords being activated. And here the inevitable question arises. If family is chosen by vibration and confirmed by sensory passwords, where does the free will of the soul enter? Try this small exercise. Next time you are with family, observe the sensations that arise in your body, the warmth, the tension, the comfort, or the discomfort. Ask inwardly, which password is being activated now? That simple gesture can reveal invisible connections. But if the soul already carries secret combinations, and if everything seems previously designed, how is the line between choice and destiny balanced? Life is never a straight line. It is more like a river that flows, sometimes calm, sometimes violent, winding around stones, creating detours, but always moving toward the ocean. The soul, when signing its contracts before birth, chooses the riverbed, but how it navigates it belongs to free will. Imagine an old book. The first pages already hold the title, the main characters, even some chapters outlined. But the margins are blank, waiting for each act to be written in experience. So it is with the soul contract, not a prison but a flexible script. Family is the alphabet. It offers the first letters, sounds, and symbols you will use to decipher the world. But the book of life is much larger. It is up to you to write new sentences, change the order of words, create chapters never seen before. It is in this game between choice and destiny that the soul finds its true expansion. Yes, there are prior contracts, inevitable encounters, inherited pains, silent missions. But there is also freedom, the decision to repeat or to interrupt a cycle, the courage to forgive, the choice to turn burden into wisdom. It is like a dance. Destiny leads some steps, but free will can change the rhythm, improvise unexpected turns, create new choreographies. And there is something even more intriguing. Sometimes, breaking a contract is also part of the contract. The soul may have chosen precisely the experience of rebelling against what was written, proving to itself that even within the script, there is space for improvisation. How many children have broken centuries-old traditions of their families, choosing entirely different paths? How many decided not to carry the inheritance of pain that was handed to them? These choices, even when they seem like disobedience, are often part of the mission, to prove that freedom is also sacred. And yet, a question echoes deep in the heart. If contracts exist, what happens when someone decides to break them? Try this exercise. Imagine life as a great blank page. On a real sheet of paper, Write down 3 things your family has always repeated: beliefs, patterns, traditions. Then, beside each one, write, "I choose to keep" or "I choose to transform." This simple act is a way of affirming your free will in the face of destiny. But if even breaking can be part of the contract, could there be a pact that can never be broken? There are contracts that can be torn. There are cycles that can be broken. There are patterns that can be interrupted. But there is one pact that never dissolves. No matter how many times you are reborn, how many stories you cross, how many masks you wear in the theater of life. This pact is the soul's commitment to love. Everything spoken until now, the inheritances, the mirrors, the frequencies, the recognition passwords, the choices and destinies, exists only to sustain this single purpose: the remembrance that love is the force weaving all threads together. Imagine an immense cosmic loom. Thousands of threads crossing, some dark, others luminous, some tense, others soft. At the center of this fabric, there is a golden knot holding everything in place. That knot is the sacred pact. No matter the mistakes, the secrets, the pains, the soul always returns to the lesson of love. That is why even in the most difficult families, there are moments of tenderness. That is why even in conflict, there are unexpected embraces. That is why even in the face of rejection, the soul insists on seeking reconciliation. Because this is the pact that never breaks: to learn, to remember, and to love in spite of everything. Your soul already knows. Every face in your family is more than a biological accident. They are mirrors, they are keys, they are reminders of a sacred choice made before time itself began. Not by chance, but by spiritual signature. You can choose to transform patterns. You can choose to break cycles. You can even decide to tear old scripts. But you will never escape the greater calling, the pact with love. And in the end, it is this pact that guides every birth, every reunion, every farewell. The soul remembers even when you forget. Sacred choice. The soul remembers. Repeat silently, like a mantra. I honor my family. I release what hurts. I keep what enlightens. And I go on remembering that love is the only eternal contract.